Taurus, welcome to your reading for the second half of September. Today we're doing the 12 house spread as always. And in your first house, we've got pre-Empress energy. We have the Nine of Pentacles. What a great start to your reading in the first house of self, identity, abundance, feeling so Venusian, so at home in this reading. And it's such a the golden card's always a positive card. So there's something really comfortable and sensuous coming through for you in this reading, and that'll be clarified as we keep going. So let's see what the clarifier is for the first house, Prune.
Interesting. So, in your first house of identity, a sense of self, you have our friend here that's staking out his boundaries. I like this guy. So, the Seven of Wands is a card of conviction, and what that suggests in your first house is that you are prepared to take a stand for what you're all about. Taurus. You're not into people pleasing anymore. It's take me or leave me kind of energy. That incredibly positive first card suggests that you've come home to yourself in a spirit of great self-love and great self-compassion. So I'm getting a sense of self-liberation.
Cool. Nice. What a great start to this reading. And in the second house, we have the Page of Swords. So, second house is all about value, resources, abundance, and that's already come through in the first house anyway. But with the Page of Swords, it's about curiosity. So, you're treading out this path, going along on this journey, and something has kind of caught your attention. You turn to the side and you're wondering, is there something else that I need to explore here? I wonder how that's related to your sense of creating abundance for you at this time. Where are you getting the most in terms of kind of wealth, but also a sense of fulfillment? And maybe at this time, something is not feeling as fulfilling as it could seem. Let's see what the clarifier says about that.
Just as you were speaking, Em, what occurred to me is that landing in your second house of, was that page? Can you just remind me what that card
Page of
was?
Swords.
Page
Yeah.
of Swords. Page of Swords. Yeah, that lovely curiosity. I knew it was about curiosity. I'm like, which one? Um, Curiosity in your house of values. Are you starting to question and challenge and get curious about your values? Were they really your values to start with? Are your values opening up and expanding? So, with expanded values comes expanded opportunity. So, for your clarifier, oh my gosh, wow, what a beautiful, abundant card. So, you have the Queen of Pentacles. So, she is all about abundance in your second house of what you're resourced with, how you create your abundance. So what you're resourced with is your skills, your talents, your abilities to create your wealth and abundance. So Queen of Pentacles suggests that um, through exploring your values and getting curious about them, there's going to be great wealth, success, and abundance coming through for you, Taurus.
Beautiful. And in the third house of communication and ideas, you have the Fool. This card is the first card in the entire deck, and it speaks about carrying the wisdom of the past life, whatever came through before in a previous iteration. You can take that if it resonates, but if not, it's about how do you carry your wisdom with you through to new experiences and channel that energy, that kind of innocence. And it's not kind of carelessness, but inspiration and new energy into different experiences. There's a sense of trusting in whatever the universe has to offer you at this time. In the third house of communication and ideas, that's how are you coming to the way that you share yourself with others, and come to different ideas with a freshness. Let's see what the clarifier says about that, friend.
Great. Don't be alarmed, Taurus. You have the tower, but I must reassure you that this did come out reversed. And given the positivity of the surrounding cards, this strongly indicates that you're healing from upheaval, you're healing from big change, you're healing from a tower moment. Um, So the healing is very much around your communication. So I'm wondering if what you've been communicating to yourself and what you've allowed to be communicated to you has enabled this healing from the tower moment. So I guess to simplify, what I'm saying is positive self-communication, positive self-talk, and really taking in if somebody pays you a compliment or really admires something that you've done or just kind of who you are as a person, you're able to take in that positive communication. And I think that's a really big part of what's healed you from the tower moment, healed you from the upheaval. And I think now you're reaping the rewards from that change that the tower brought in.
Mm. Yeah, that seems to ring true, Fran. And in the fourth house, we have the Four of Cups, 4 in 4. And the fourth
Mm.
house is about home, what's familiar, family of origin or chosen family. And what's coming through in this card is maybe at this time and to do with home and chosen family, you're feeling like you've been through this before. You've been through this many times, and this time it seems to be coming round again as a type of pattern, but it's likely to be different, depending on your frame and your lens that you're using in relation to this new experience. There's an offer coming through. It's to do with emotion because it's the Suite of Cups. And the person in the foreground is pondering, God, I'm kind of resenting that this is coming up again. But given the rest of the reading as well, the full Page of Swords, the abundance of the Nine of Pentacles, this seems like it's going to be really different. It's going to have a totally different flavor to it. So whatever that is in relation to, probably the clarifier will reveal that, Fran.
Let's see. Oh, okay, interesting. Cups again with a sort of a similar energy. So the Five of Cups, this guy has lost his taste for wine, and even though he has lost his taste for wine, he's still mourning over the wine that has been spilt. So in your fourth house of family, of what's familiar, chosen family, where you feel at home in the world, um, is there a sense of dissatisfaction? Have you maybe outgrown what's familiar? And what steps do you need to take to sort of resolve that for yourself? Because the surrounding cards are incredibly positive, it suggests that there's kind of a pretty easy resolution to this. So it might be just choosing to spend less time with people that are very familiar that you've outgrown. Um, and and I think by doing that, you're turning around and you're really taking in this is my new world now, that you can give yourself permission to more fully inhabit. Perhaps there's a little bit of guilt or a bit of, hanging on, is somebody being a bit of a barnacle with you and not letting you go, so you feel a bit guilty and pulled back into the familiar. Just give yourself permission to shrug off the familiar and to step into the beautiful world that you've created, Taurus.
Mm. Yeah, really nice, Fran. In the fifth house, we have the Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Swords can look daunting, but it really is about getting out of your comfort zone. Something has happened that has been kind of gnawing at you, like kind of like a nightmarish situation. But you've sat up in the bed, you've thrown the covers off, and you're just like, I'm so tired of this. Let's do it differently. And what that takes is a lot of courage, a lot of strength that sometimes it's a privilege to have that strength in the first place. But you're finding yourself in a space in the fifth house of that self-expression. Things need to really shift. And you're kind of put in this position of shifting it, whether you like it or not, but it's going to be for the better. What's the clarifier saying about that, friend?
Lovely. So our clarifier is the Page of
Mm.
Wands. So this lovely sense of enthusiasm showing up in your fifth house of creative self-expression tells me that I think your enthusiasm has outstripped this suffering that you have lived through. And in
Mm.
fact, this suffering that you have lived through is informing what you're creating. I don't know if you're
Mm.
writing something or you're painting something or you're writing a song, but the suffering is informing the creativity. You know how a lot of actors, the method form of acting, method acting. They draw on past suffering to give a really convincing and truthful performance. So, kind of similarly, I feel like you're drawing on past suffering and using it kind of like alchemy, I suppose, in a way to be like the fuel for your creative expression. But it's not dragging you down or painful anymore. You're doing it with an incredible spirit of enthusiasm. So, enthusiasm around creative expression, I feel, is what's going to make your heart soar, Taurus.
Yeah, wow, that's so cool. Yeah, the method acting. And then in the sixth house, we have the Seven of Wands, sorry, not swords. And this is a card of boundaries, of conviction. In the sixth house, we look at service, of making decisions, discernment, and work. And I wonder how this is coming up for you in your places of work. How are you having to set boundaries for yourself, with others, but also within yourself? So we can set boundaries with others where we say, we draw the line. We're like, no, sorry, I can't engage in that. That's not good for me. But also within ourselves, where do I need to set a boundary for my own capacity, self-care? How do I practice more self-compassion when I'm tempted to follow the lead of that inner critic, of the self-criticism? So, yeah, I wonder what the clarifier will say about that too.
So interesting. Oh, wow. So very, very similar. Okay, so this is a very similar card of courage, conviction, and determination. So the Nine of Wands is really, he's our wounded warrior. He's the walking wounded. So I get the sense, showing up in the sixth house of work, of being of service, of choices. I get the sense that you've had a tough time, Taurus, in the workplace. I feel like it's something that you have moved through already. There might be a little bit of a hangover from it, but as a result of your strong boundaries of fighting and coming out the other side a little bit worse for wear, a little bit like the wounded warrior or the walking wounded, I again get the sense that this is kind of grist for the mill. This has galvanized you. You can dig deep. You've survived this. You can survive anything. I think a lot of strength has been forged here, and I think it'd be really great for you to acknowledge that, perhaps in a more intentional way. Like, yeah, I have fought and I have won and I have staked out my boundaries and I've learned a heck of a lot and I've survived a heck of a lot and I'm
Mm.
strong. So, yeah, really acknowledge that, Taurus. Beautiful.
Cool. Thanks for that, Fran. And in the seventh house of partnerships and relationships, we have the Lovers card. How interesting. It's perfect. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. The Lovers card in the seventh house. The Lovers card is Gemini, so maybe there's some Gemini influence coming through as well. But it could be, if you're not seeking partnership or you're trying to explore ways to deepen the connections you already have. This could be also about relationship to self and where is that emerging in your connections to other people. We always have so much to reflect on when we think about our relationships to other people and ourselves. And I think just the flavor of the rest of this reading is really bolstering that this is a time where you can dive deeper into that, where you can get a lot more out of your reflection from those spaces because of the Lover's card in the seventh house. So, what does the clarifier say about this placement, friend?
Yeah, really interesting. I agree. Like lovers in your seventh house of relationships suggest a beautiful love connection coming in for you or a deepening of the connection that you do have. And oh, wow, look what we have
Cool.
here, the Temperance card showing up in your seventh house of relationships. So, what it suggests to me is that your relationship's really going to work through balance and through compromise and making time for it. So the Temperance card is a card of purification, turning one thing into something else. So what immediately springs to mind is fighting against that negativity default that we have. Our brain has a bias towards negativity. So pushing back on that in your relationship so you can always see the best in the person that you're with. So it does suggest a really lovely deepening. If you're currently in a relationship, if you can't do that, it suggests get out of it.
Mm.
And it also suggests if you're single and you want love, somebody's coming in for you. If you're, and it's a beautiful connection. If you're single and you don't want love, as Em was saying, it's a lovely deepening relationship with yourself, some lovely self-healing happening there, which will be reflected in all of your relationships, friendship, workplace. So very positive for all relationships, Taurus.
Mm. Yeah, awesome. All right. And then in the eighth house, we have the Page of Cups. So we've got two pages so far. The Page of Cups is about perhaps is the fish real in the cup? He's kind of looking at it like, is this a delusion or how do I make this into a reality for myself? And being in the eighth house of shared resources, of transformation, this could be asking you to take some time to reflect and also about grounding anything that feels really abstract, vague, not detailed enough, unstructured. How can you actually root this into the earth and utilize that earth energy that you've got, Taurus, so that it's emotionally fulfilling? And I think this is more to do with self, more than work itself or love as a separate thing. This is about kind of creating reality for yourself. So, what does the clarifier say with that, Fran?
Okay, interesting. This is a very different energy.
Mhm.
This is resting, recovery, and relaxing. So, our friend, the Four of Swords, is about taking that time out to rest, to get a bit of perspective, to give yourself what you need, some stillness in this crazy old world. So, showing up in your eighth house of transformation, I think what this reading is asking of you, Taurus, is to be still so you can transform whatever needs to be transformed. Um, and I get a sense that the transformation that's being asked of you is entirely possible. I don't think it's going to be difficult for you, and you know what it is. So it could be like a nagging old belief system that's hanging on by its bare teeth that you need to ultimately transform. But yeah, just maybe some quiet reflection will allow you to get a sense of what's being asked to be transformed in your life,
Mhm.
Taurus.
Yeah, I'm getting a funny kind of premonition. It's just telling you to sleep and dream. Because like the resting and the Four of Swords and then Page of Cups is like, is this real? So maybe it's about paying attention to your dreams and resting. Who knows? But
Oh, that's what I was going to say. So
oh
the
yeah.
fish in the cup is your dream, and
Yeah.
landing in your eighth house of transformation, that dream is asking to be transformed into reality. And the way that that's going to come through is through rest, is through dream, is through stillness. It's not going to be through like crazy, busy, doing. Yeah, rest is best for you, Taurus.
Yeah, cool. I like that. All right. And then in the ninth house, we have the magician, transformation, and wishes. The magician is able to create anything he desires. He's got this infinite capacity to do that. In the ninth house, it's about higher thinking and like greater mind. It's also about philosophies, belief systems. So, where are you kind of exploring that at the moment? How are you manifesting what you really need through your intellect, but also a sense of spiritual knowledge? And even though spiritual knowledge is more connected to 12th house traditionally, it kind of starts to emerge here. What does the clarifier say with the magician?
Okay, really nice. We have the Two of Cups in your ninth house of higher mind. So interesting, we're getting this a bit. So it does suggest that somebody's coming in for you, and there is going to be a meeting of the minds around these higher ideals, higher principles, kind of esoteric questioning everything. The other thing I get with the ninth house of higher mind is, can you just remind me what was your card, Em?
Magician.
Magician, thank you. You can, so that the magician of manifestation showing up in your area of higher mind suggests that you can tap into your higher mind and you can manifest. So maybe what you're actually going to manifest, if it's something that you want, is a beautiful love connection. So Yeah, this is a very deep connection, and it's about accepting otherness. They're quite different looking, those two. So it's really appreciating something that isn't perhaps familiar and known to you, opening yourself up to something different. So yeah, really nice, Taurus.
Exciting. And then in the 10th house, reputation and career is I think, yeah, Six of Pentacles. This is about balance. It's about knowing what you're giving out and what you're getting back in. And being in the 10th house, it could be related to your work. Maybe you're in a giving role or some kind of caring role, or there's something playing out in your workplace or publicly that may feel like you're giving energy and receiving energy in a particular way. And this card, it requests that we check out, are we balanced in that? Do we feel that what we're giving out is coming back in return in a way that is fulfilling, not just draining your resources? And the Pentacles is it's about wealth, it's about your resources, and yeah, I think that's all I've got for that. What's the clarifier saying there, friend?
Mm, yeah, really nice. Oh, wow. Okay, so Ace of Wands. This is a beautiful card. It's very, very powerful.
Mm.
It's suggesting that a spark is coming in your 10th house of career, your reputation, your contribution to the world. There's a spark of inspiration coming through, but you do have to feed that. You do have to bring that down to earth and the practicalities. How is this going to work? What is this going to look like? How is this going to show up? But it is a beautiful spark of inspiration. So I think in your 10th house, I get the sense with you, Taurus, that, yeah, I'm getting strongly recognition around. I think actually, if you start voicing your inspiration in the workplace, it's really going to yield abundance for you, is what I'm getting there.
Awesome. All right. And then in the 11th house, we have the Knight of Cups. Knight in shining armor, maybe writing in for you in the 11th house of dreams and wishes, but also groups and connections to larger groups of people. The Knight of Cups is also it's kind of like asking you to check before you dive into something with someone. They may appear wonderful and charming on the outset, and as you kind of dig deeper, you'll start to see chinks in the armor. But that's like anybody. It's that, the more perfectionistic we think or perfect we think this person or this part in ourselves may be, we can become really disillusioned with that. So, but it's also about being realistic that if someone has qualities that don't entirely gel with you, maybe there's some space to make for that. But if not, then you'll know I can see the red flags from a mile away. I know to stay away. So yeah, it's kind of a double-edged sword here, but generally speaking, the Knight of Cups is quite an exciting person to come into your life, or it could represent that part of you that's feeling really comfortable and connected to desire and pleasure. And yeah, particularly in the 11th house, so something around dreams and wishes. What does the clarifier say with that, friend?
Lovely. You've got the King of Swords in your House of Hopes and Wishes. I kind of
Mhm.
get the sense with the Knight of Swords that you perhaps have wished somebody into existence. So that's nice. I hope he or she or they turn out to match with your desires and your ideals. So the King of Swords showing up in your 11th house of hopes and wishes. This is a card of wisdom and knowledge. So it kind of tells me that your wishes and your dreams aren't just pie in the sky. You're going to be able to bring them through using your skill and your wisdom and your knowledge. And perhaps this person coming through of great sort of dynamism and energy is going to be a part of that.
Mm, lovely. And in the final house, 12th house, we have the King of Pentacles. This came up in our last reading too. King of Pentacles has worked really hard to build his abundance and grow things that were really difficult to grow. But being in the 12th house of, I think it's that spiritual connection to self, it's what's lurking in the shadows, the mysteries of the universe. It's maybe it's it kind of looks like the final transformation. Like I'm thinking Pokemon, like what's your final evolution, Taurus? And this is the epitome of your final evolution. Because it's about really sitting back in that abundance and enjoying what you've grown. The King of Pentacles is also so certain in his own groundedness. There's nothing flaky about the King of Pentacles. And I guess the only thing that it may be asking you to check around and challenge yourself with is how do you then stand up out of your throne and try something different afterwards? So we can kind of see this cycle as, the astrological wheel of house 1 to 12, and it completes this cycle. And what happens then to you, Taurus, when you move back into the first house after this, the second half of September? So what does the clarifier say with that, friend?
Oh, wow. Amazing. We have the world in your 12th house of
Great.
spirituality, of things that are hidden. So the 12th house is about completion and achievement. It's celebratory. It's recognition. So I feel like your success and your achievement is going to be recognized and being placed in the 12th house of things hidden. I feel like you're no longer sort of hiding your light under a bushel. This is going to shine forth. So the 12th house is ruled by Neptune. So Neptune, the highest expression of Neptune is illumination. And I guess the challenge is delusion. And given the two incredibly positive cards showing up in your 12th house, this to me suggests illumination for you. So you're able to bring this through to the world from the 12th house of like deep spiritual stuff. You've done the work, you've done the spiritual work, and it's kind of bursting through into manifestation, bursting through into the physical world. You've birthed it. Well done, Taurus.
Lovely. So, what a great reading for you, Taurus, this second half of September. Thanks for reading with us, and we'll see you soon.